So a couple days ago when Tracy brought me on to fill in as the MC pretty last minute, we put together a welcome little script, but with what Tracy just did, I don't even know if it's necessary for us to go by the script. But I guess just to stick with the schedule, I wanted to just really take a moment, if it's okay, to talk about Grow and why it's important that we're meeting here today. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, thank you. So, as you know, that's Tracy. She's the founder of Grow Women Leaders. It's a leadership development platform. She's opening an integrated co-working space, and that's created for female entrepreneurs, managers, founders, and just women for the future. Tracy believes in achieving goals through training and through learning and through collaborating. Her vision for Grow Women Leaders is for it to be a one-stop space to equip women with all the resources they need to lead in every aspect of their lives. Her mandate for Grow Women Leaders is to create that platform supported by all. Diversity is the name of the game. Does that sound good or good? Yeah. Good. Awesome. And just before we start the day, we have an amazing list of speakers lined up for you. And I think it'll just be absolutely amazing. I'm distracted by the children. Hi. But I'm just absolutely delighted to be here with you. And I thought I would take a moment to talk about leadership. Is that okay with you before we start with the speakers? Okay, thank you. So I grew up here. I grew up in Scandinavia. That was the first half of my childhood and the second half here in Alberta. So I'm pretty homegrown. And then as an adult, I've worked in Toronto, the UK, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and throughout this process, I've worked with a lot of women, a lot of leaders, a lot of grassroots community organizations, and corporate. And in this process, I've seen it all. I've seen the hustle mentality. I've seen plenty of ambition. I've seen a work ethic that's 80 hours, 100 hours a week. So we're not short on ambition, and we're not short on the hustle mentality. We're not. What separates the leader or the successful person leading a fulfilling life over time is more than just work ethic and hard work, right? It's mindset. And that's why leadership is so important, because just having an idea or just, hitting the ground running and just working hard, that can get you results, but you'll burn out. And that's why so many businesses, the plan is great, even the finances are great, but because of the team culture, because of the leadership or the lack thereof in that group, things crumble. I've seen it time and time again. The first year is great. You still have the stamina to work really hard, right? Remember that hustle mentality? Yeah. Second year, you keep going, but by third year, there's passive aggressiveness in the team, right? There's a lack of communication, there's complaining. And I say this not to suggest that this, it's always funny because I work a lot with corporate where the communication gets very serious, and then once I'm on stage I realize, oh, it's not corporate, let's keep it a little lighter. And yet it's important to have this discussion because at the end of the day, all of the work ethic, ambition, and desire to create change and desire to serve the community is a moot point if you cannot get it together in terms of your leadership and team culture, right?
Here, here.
Thank you. So as a metaphor, if we use a highway as a metaphor, right? We talk a lot about community, and collaboration over competition. So with the highway as that metaphor, we're all headed in that direction. But a community is really just a group of individuals. Every single individual's mindset contributes to the success of that community. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So on a highway, every single person is at every single car. Now if you have a car who is signaling or turning right, for example, you're still with me, so they're turning right, but as they're doing that, they're taking their sweet old time and they're spanning 2 lanes. And so you're like, have you ever been on a highway and you're going 100 kilometers an hour and someone's ahead of you and they're spanning 2 lanes on the highway? Show of hands. Yeah. And you're just thinking, what are you doing? But when that happens within an organization or within a business, that's that person wanting to do good, talking about vision and going forward with you, but they don't have the awareness of what it is that their actions are doing to the rest of us. Right? So that's why leadership and awareness at the individual level is so key. Another example, this one is really applicable here in Alberta. So what about that person with that big car who all of a sudden wants to stop? And they don't really signal, or they don't really give you that communication prior to. Is it safe to really be behind that person? Right? On a team level, what the metaphor says is now, okay, we're all a community, we're doing a business together, but that person isn't communicating his or her desires with the rest of us. Is that really safe for the business? No, right? Yeah. So that's why the discussion on leadership is so essential. And I personally believe, and this is what I talk to with my clients as well, which is that we can talk the talk of community, we can talk the talk of working together and collaborating, but until we each learn to take the ownership as a leader, real change is not going to be lasting, right? So that's why it's so important to start taking ownership, and I encourage you, as each of these incredible speakers come on stage and they share with you their journeys, their challenges, and how they've overcome this, that you start looking at how we can apply that to our own lives at the individual level, because only then can we each act as really empowered vehicles on that highway so that we can all go together in a streamlined way. Does that sound good? Awesome.